Imagine being on a battlefield centuries ago. A soldier fires a single shot from a musket, and then the long, stressful process begins, pouring powder, inserting the ball, ramming it down the barrel, preparing the weapon again. This entire process could take 20 seconds or even longer. During that time, the soldier is vulnerable. In the chaos of combat, those seconds could mean the difference between victory and defeat. For centuries, firearms worked this way: one shot, then reload. But everything changed when engineers and inventors began developing firearms that allowed the shooter to fire several shots before reloading. This innovation would completely transform warfare, hunting, and personal defense. The idea behind this advancement was simple but revolutionary. Instead of loading a single round directly into the chamber or barrel, designers created mechanisms that could store multiple rounds in a magazine, cylinder, or tube. With this system, each time the trigger was pulled or the action was cycled, a new round would automatically move into the firing position. This meant the shooter could fire multiple shots in quick succession without stopping to reload after every single round. One of the earliest examples of this concept was the repeating firearm. Repeating firearms appeared in the 19th century and quickly demonstrated their value. These weapons used mechanical systems like levers, bolts, or pumps to chamber the next round. For example, lever-action rifles became famous for their ability to fire multiple rounds rapidly while maintaining reliability. A shooter could simply move the lever, which would eject the spent cartridge and load a fresh round from a tube magazine beneath the barrel. This design gave soldiers and frontiersmen a major advantage. Instead of firing once and spending precious time reloading, they could fire several shots rapidly. In combat situations, this meant greater firepower and better chances of survival. On the American frontier, repeating rifles allowed hunters and settlers to defend themselves more effectively against threats and hunt animals more efficiently. Another major innovation that allowed multiple shots before reloading was the revolver. Unlike earlier pistols that required reloading after each shot, revolvers used a rotating cylinder that held several cartridges, often 6. Each time the trigger was pulled, the cylinder rotated and aligned a new round with the barrel. This design allowed shooters to fire multiple shots quickly without stopping to reload. The revolver became incredibly popular in the 19th century, especially among soldiers, law enforcement officers, and civilians. Its reliability and simplicity made it a trusted sidearm for decades. The ability to fire several shots without reloading provided a significant tactical advantage, especially in close-range encounters where speed and accuracy were critical. As firearms technology continued to evolve, engineers introduced magazine-fed rifles and pistols. These weapons stored ammunition in detachable or fixed magazines. A magazine is essentially a container that holds multiple cartridges under spring pressure. When the firearm cycles, the spring pushes the next round upward into position, allowing it to be chambered automatically. Bolt-action rifles were among the first widely used magazine-fed firearms. These rifles allowed the shooter to manually operate a bolt that ejected the spent cartridge and chambered a new round from the magazine. This system was extremely reliable and became standard for military rifles in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Soldiers could fire several rounds before needing to reload the magazine, greatly increasing their effectiveness in battle. Soon after, semi-automatic firearms were developed. These weapons took the concept even further. Instead of manually cycling the action after each shot, semi-automatic firearms use the energy from the fired cartridge, either gas pressure or recoil, to automatically load the next round. This meant that every pull of the trigger fired a shot and chambered the next round instantly. This technology dramatically increased the rate of fire while still allowing the shooter to maintain control and accuracy. Semi-automatic pistols, rifles, and shotguns became widely used by military forces, law enforcement agencies, and civilians around the world. One important component that makes firing several shots before reloading possible is the magazine itself. Magazines come in different designs and capacities. Some firearms use internal magazines that are built into the weapon, while others use detachable box magazines that can be quickly replaced when empty. Detachable magazines allow shooters to reload much faster by simply inserting a fresh magazine rather than loading individual cartridges. In addition to box magazines, some firearms use tubular magazines. These are commonly found in lever-action rifles and certain shotguns. Tubular magazines store cartridges in a line, usually beneath the barrel. While they typically hold fewer rounds than modern box magazines, they still allow multiple shots before reloading. Another key system is the cylinder used in revolvers. Cylinders rotate to align each cartridge with the barrel. This mechanism allows revolvers to fire multiple shots in a sequence without reloading, though the capacity is usually limited compared to magazine-fed firearms. The ability to fire several shots before reloading has had a massive impact on military tactics. In earlier centuries, armies relied on large formations of soldiers firing volleys with single-shot weapons. But as repeating and magazine-fed firearms became common, tactics evolved. Soldiers could engage enemies more effectively, maintain sustained fire, and respond quickly to changing battlefield conditions. This technological advancement also influenced the development of modern automatic weapons. While repeating and semi-automatic firearms require a separate trigger pull for each shot, automatic weapons can continue firing as long as the trigger is held down. These systems rely on similar feeding mechanisms that allow multiple rounds to be fired without constant reloading. Beyond the battlefield, firearms capable of firing multiple shots before reloading have also transformed hunting and sport shooting. Hunters benefit from having additional shots available in case the first shot misses or a follow-up shot is needed. Competitive shooters also rely on firearms with magazines to engage multiple targets quickly and efficiently. Reliability is another important factor. Firearms designed to hold multiple rounds must feed ammunition smoothly and consistently. Engineers carefully design magazines, springs, and feeding systems to ensure each round moves into the chamber correctly. Any malfunction could interrupt the firing process, which is why modern firearms undergo extensive testing and refinement. Another advantage of multi-shot firearms is efficiency during reloading. Instead of carrying loose ammunition and loading it one round at a time, shooters can carry preloaded magazines or speed loaders. This allows them to quickly replenish their firearm and continue shooting with minimal delay. Over time, materials and manufacturing methods have improved dramatically. Early repeating firearms were made with simple steel components and handcrafted parts. Today, advanced alloys, precision machining, and modern polymers make firearms more durable, lighter, and more reliable than ever before. Despite these advancements, the core idea remains the same. Allowing the shooter to fire several shots before reloading dramatically improves efficiency and capability. This simple concept has driven more than a century of firearm innovation and continues to shape modern weapon design. From the early days of single-shot muskets to the development of repeating rifles, revolvers, and magazine-fed firearms, the evolution of multi-shot capability represents one of the most important milestones in firearms history. It changed how battles were fought, how people defended themselves, and how shooters approached accuracy and speed. Today, the ability to fire multiple shots before reloading is a standard feature in most modern firearms. What once seemed like an incredible innovation is now an expected capability. Yet the engineering behind it remains a fascinating combination of mechanics, physics, and design. When you look at a modern firearm, it represents centuries of experimentation and improvement. Every magazine, cylinder, and action mechanism reflects the efforts of inventors who sought to solve the same problem: how to allow a shooter to fire several shots quickly and reliably before needing to reload. And that single idea, firing several shots before reloading, continues to influence weapon technology even today, shaping the tools used by soldiers, law enforcement, and responsible shooters around the world.